Hey guys, how's it going and welcome back to the channel. Now recently we got a viewer request on how to set up a dubia colony. So today we're going to be going over, how to set up the dubia bin, what ratio of breeders for male female that you need, and really, the beginning steps to starting your own dubia colony. Then after we'll be taking a look at my personal dubia bin that I've had for, I want to say like 18 months now. It's been probably a year and a half, and what you can expect with those numbers. Before we get this video started, if you're new here and you love seeing some really awesome animals, I do upload twice a week at least, sometimes 3 or more, so definitely at the end, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you get notified when a new video is posted. So we have my colony breeding bin right here. Just for the first off, some things I want to touch up on are the things that you should not be following when I'm doing. Number one, you definitely want to get a colored bin or a solid colored one, not this clear one. It just happened I used to use the gray one, which is down here, but the colony got a little too big, so I needed them in a bigger space, and I was too cheap and lazy to go buy another bin at the time, so I just said, hey, we got this one, let's throw them in. Now, dubia roaches prefer a more solid color black. They're gonna like dark, secluded areas, so providing it with really no light penetration is gonna be a lot better than what I'm doing here. I was just, of course, too lazy, but I'll definitely be moving them into a solid color bin later on. Now, as far as caring for your roaches and really the basic setup that they're gonna need, it's relatively inexpensive and they're pretty easy. I don't know why more people don't do this. One risk to consider when doing this is allergies. You can develop an allergy to dubia roaches if you're constantly handling them or not taking care of the colony in a well-ventilated room. I've noticed that people develop allergies pretty commonly with these guys, so it's definitely one risk to consider before starting your colony. Now when talking about heat for your dubia roaches, you're going to be either needing an under tank heater and or heat tape or anything above like a heat lamp. If you're using the heat lamp, of course you're going to want to keep it darker, so I recommend using a CHE on a thermostat versus colored bulbs, even like the red or purples. It's best to have no light. For temperatures, you're going to want them anywhere from 85 to 90 degrees. I have found that the hotter you keep the dubia roaches, the better they breed, but the shorter their lifespan, and vice versa. Keeping them cooler, somehow they live a little longer, but they don't produce as many babies, so it's really up to you which one you want. Next up, let's talk about what to put inside the bin. So really, I keep mine as simple as possible. I've used some substrates in the past, including like cocoa fiber and aspen shavings, but when you're kind of doing it more of a large scale term, it's a little more difficult to grab babies if they're like, because they all burrow into the aspen, so I opted to use no substrate. So it's just a clean floor, and then of course just some dubia mess. It's a little dirty, I actually gotta clean it out here pretty soon, but yeah, for the most part, just no substrate for me. The only other thing that I provide for them is little bowls for food and then water. I just use water crystals that you can get at any like gardening store. They work great because you can just kind of keep them in there and they're not gonna, there's no risk of them drowning or anything like that. And then of course these egg crates. If you are gonna use egg crates, which I do recommend, make sure you get them standing vertically, not horizontal. This way, so when they're pooping, it just kind of falls to the bottom instead of just filling up the little egg crate crevices. Now when you do get the bin, you're going to want to use some air ventilations. Personally, I was using these air holes on the side, but I noticed the babies, they would kind of climb up this egg crate and then go through the hole, so eventually I just taped those off and opted to use to cut out the top and use some screen. I've noticed that works a little bit better. It's better for ventilation for them, and then I have no escapees. Lastly, we'll brush up on what to feed and how to hydrate your dubia roach colony. Now, I kind of just went over it, but I'll go over it one more time. I use water crystals personally. I like them better. Now you kind of do have to keep buying them, so that expense does add up, but I think I bought like, a smallish bag for like, I don't know, 10, 15 bucks. And I've had it for probably 6 months now, and I've made just like a dent into it. You really don't need that much, just a little sprinkle. I mean, they do last quite a while, but if you're trying to be a penny pincher and you want to save as much money as possible, you can use some stuff like even like some sponges soaked up, obviously not used. They'll use stuff like that. There are, they call them cricket quenchers, I believe. You can find that on Amazon. I think ZoomEd makes it. Those are another good idea. Or then really just like a small shallow water dish with like some rocks in there to make sure that they don't drown. I don't really recommend that method, but I have seen it used. And for food, you can really feed a variety of stuff. It's all depending on what you want to do. I offer a mix of protein and then some vegetables. So any of the greens like sweet potatoes, collard greens, oranges, apples, berries, stuff like this. Make sure to not use the citrus fruits as often because that can build up some bad stuff that I can't remember, to be honest with you guys. But I do know when you're using like oranges and any of those citrus fruits to use it a little more sparingly than with other stuff. For proteins, I've used a variety of foods, including like fish food, cat food, dog food, and then actually I've been switching over to chicken mix. I just get a few different ones. I like the chick mix itself. I don't really have a bag with me, but I'll try to list it somewhere over here when I start editing this video. I feel that one's the best choice for me right now. I'm really loving how it's working out. Really, you can just pour some and get a cheap blender and blend it up, and then I wet it a little bit and put it in, and the roaches really seem to enjoy it. So for treats, I'll use any leftover rapashi from my gecko breeders and put them in there for a day. They love eating some rapashi that's gone just a little bit bad, so the smellier the better it seems for these guys, and then I'll just take them out and I have clean deli cups for the next day. So you got your roach colony all set up, you know, it's good to go. Now all you need is the roaches. So for roaches, it really depends on how big you're going to go. If you have like a small collection of maybe 10 or 15 reptiles, I wouldn't recommend getting that much, because as soon as they really start producing, I found that you can get overrun pretty fast. I mean, I started with, I believe, like 20 or 30 breeders, and I ended up with close to 500 in like a year or two. Unfortunately, with that colony, some of them got out while still living with my folks, and they did not like that, so I had to give that colony away. This was before I was really like big into reptiles. I didn't know I could sell that for like a couple $100. I think I just gave it to like one of my friends, so kind of a miss on my part. As far as ratios go with your male to female, I like doing a 1 to 5, so 1 male with 5 females. You can go as much as 1 male to every 3 females, but I've noticed that the males kind of get out of whack pretty quick, and I'm constantly removing males to my females, so if too many males are together, they will fight, and they get a little scrappy look and not really nice looking, so I opt to get a lot more females than I do with males. If you're looking to get like how many dubia roaches should you get for if you have like a fairly small collection or somewhat big, you know, 20 to 30, I'd recommend something like 5 males to 25 females. They do produce quite a few roaches, so you really do start getting some once they actually start the breeding process. Of course, you guys can get as many as you want. As you guys know, I bought 1,000 small dubia, I think like 4 months ago. They have been growing pretty good. Pretty excited next year to see all the breeders and how many babies I'll be getting, you know, in later 2020. So all in all, starting a dubia roach colony really isn't that hard, just some basic heat needs, and then of course feeding and providing water for them. Really the hardest part is just the waiting game for them. Pretty much that first year of them first producing those first batch of babies, and then those babies growing up and breeding, that's really when you start kickstarting the colony and it really starts exploding. So lastly, we'll just take a little look into my enclosure, seeing how I set up and just how I provide for my roach colony. So here we are, like it's just this bin. I have this taped and screen in, so providing some ventilation. And then we'll open this bad boy up. It's pretty tight in here, so it's a little bit difficult. And then right there at the bottom, I have the chicken feed, or the chick feed, and then some water crystals. And then I just provide basically these cork flats that have all the little dubias in it. Of course, putting them vertically instead of horizontally, the poop kind of just all falls on the bottom. It makes cleanup a little bit easier. I kind of do have to clean this out. It's a little dirty, but that's pretty much it. It's a fairly simple kit, or, you know, colony thing. I should have a little bit more cork, little cork flat things, but egg crates, not cork flats. But I ran out. I have to order some more. I bought like a pack of 30 of these for 20 bucks way back. A while back, but like I said, fairly easy setup. I think this whole thing cost me like, I don't know, 30 bucks, not including the feeders. The breeding colony, starter colony is going to be dependent on, you know, how many you get in the beginning. And that pretty much is going to wrap up the video for today. Now, I hope this helped you guys that really wanted a video on this. And of course, if you guys have any more video ideas or something that you want me to dive in a little bit, you know, get some information on, make sure to leave a comment in the comment section. I'll be sure to make a video of it. And as always, if you like the video, don't forget to give us a thumbs up. If you want to see some more of my animals or breeding products, you could always follow me on Instagram and Facebook at DBCB Exotics. And other than that, thank you for watching, and I hope you have a great day.